So if you're in the United States on those dates, you've completed high school or you've obtained your GED, and that you have not committed any crimes that would keep you from being able to apply for it, you can apply for DACA even if it's the first time. So that's according to the rule. Now, all of this does not come into place until October 31st. So at this point, you can't really apply because the rule is not in effect yet. And there's always a chance that there'll be another lawsuit. So we just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. But the good news is that the rule is out. And if everything goes forward like it is, you will be able to file first-time DACA starting on October 31st. Also, if for some reason you've let your DACA expire and it's been expired for more than 1 year, USCIS treats it as if you're applying for DACA for the very first time. So because of that, you have not been able to reapply. You have not been able to get your work authorization card and evidence that you've been placed in the DACA program. So now you will be able to, again, assuming that the rule was in effect, assuming that the rule is not, if they're not sued again in immigration court. The other thing that Homeland Security did say, which that's being worked on right now, is they're saying that until the case is decided in the Fifth Circuit, so that was the case that was in Texas, that they're not going to be making any decisions on the cases. Now, that Fifth Circuit case was about a completely different rule. So in my opinion, they can move forward. But what we're hopeful is that they have another month and almost a full month, 2 months starting today to get that worked out. So we're very hopeful that they're going to get that worked out because that case is no longer applies to this rule. But that is the position that Homeland Security is taking right now. So again, great news that has been put out. The ages have not changed. Nothing has changed. Everything went back to how it was. So, and so here's a question. Do I think the new rule will make a difference in the Fifth Circuit? I believe it will. I believe that this new rule was done properly. It was put out. There were comments that were allowed, that they waited the right amount of time. So in my opinion, what's happening in the Fifth Circuit has kind of been mooted out. So it no longer really applies because it was talking about an old rule and this new rule fixes it. So in my opinion, it should make a difference in the Fifth Circuit, and that case should go away. If it were me, I would probably file a motion to dismiss it based on its moot now because there's a new rule. So that is where we are with DACA, with the Fifth Circuit, and so again, another question: is DACA open to first timers? It is according to the rule, but again, like I said, the rule is in place, but they're not going to start allowing new applications to come in until October 31st. So what we're telling people is go ahead and get documents together, but don't file anything. You can't file yet. So, but it's good to be prepared and be ready because we are anticipating that they will accept applications starting October 30th or October 31st, assuming that no other hiccups happen with lawsuits and with the Fifth Circuit. So that's where we are right now. So great news. Want to make sure it got out there. Thank you for the likes. We appreciate it. So we know we're getting the information out there that you need. So thank you so much for that and for following us. We know a lot of you have been waiting for this information. And so you jumped on as soon as we came on. So thank you for joining us. And so that way we can get as much information out there to make sure everybody has the information they need, especially for DACA. So we see those lights going up. We thank you so much for those. Attorney Raquel, did I leave anything out?
So I believe you touched on this a little bit, but the final rule was put on the Federal Register. So I'm going to be linking that website on both profiles if you guys want to check it out after this live so you guys can look at it. It's about 500 pages. On Friday, Attorney Jordan Forsyth also touched on this in Spanish. So I've seen some Spanish questions about it. We did touch on that in Spanish. So I'm going to be posting that video onto Collie Foresight's YouTube account, and you guys can check it out in Spanish there if you'd like. But I think you covered everything. We're excited. Some people think that this isn't a big change. It does protect and fortify DACA future lawsuits. And like Attorney Mercer said, we're hopeful will be able to apply and have a decision made on their case. I do have a question here from Jezebel Alvarado, and she says, what about applications that got approved and did the biometrics when it stopped? So some people are saying that they had their fingerprints done. I don't think at that point it had been approved for them, and they've just been in limbo. What happened to those cases from last year that had been done?
Absolutely. So we're going to answer that just to let everybody know the order we're going to do. We're going to answer this question, and then we're going to also talk about parole in place. I see a lot of questions going about parole in place and advanced parole. So we will talk about those. So if you filed before and then the lawsuit happens, if they stopped accepting brand new applications or renewals after a year, so what's happened is that your file has just been sitting there. So they didn't deny it. They haven't gotten rid of it. They just have not made a decision. So as soon as this rule goes back into place, again, assuming no other hiccups happen, as soon as this rule goes back into place, they will start working on those applications again, and they'll be able to approve them. And so what we're seeing, it could slow down because obviously they're going to get a lot of applications. But right now, what we're seeing is that most of our renewals are taking 4 months, maybe a little less. So we're hoping that'll be about the same, and that you would be able to move in that same directions. Okay, so questions about advanced parole. Advanced parole, is it safe and can you file for it? So if you currently are in the DACA program, yes, you are allowed to file for an advanced parole. Advanced parole is a document that allows you to leave the United States and then return, and you get a stamp in your passport showing that you've returned to the United States. And when the questions, is it safe? Yes, we found that it's very safe. We have not had many problems with our clients coming back in. And the problems that have had is that they've usually been pulled aside and asked questions. It has not been a situation where they have not been allowed to come back into the United States. It's just they've been asked questions for some period, what's called secondary inspection back in the back. So it is safe. It is available to people that are in the program currently. And so that is something that you can look into and that you would be able to file for. Let's see.
And we would recommend doing a consultation just in case, because obviously we've seen that for our clients, have done consultations with them. We've looked through their case to make sure that there wouldn't be any issue. So definitely set up a free consultation. With an immigration attorney, we do offer free consultation to call us. Numbers listed right here on Collie Foresight's profile.
Absolutely. So now we're going to transition to a few other questions because we have some other questions about immigration coming in. But if you have any other questions about DACA, go ahead and put those in there as well. So Lola, you asked about your mother being able to take the citizenship test in Spanish. So in order to qualify for the exemption, so there's an exemption, so people do not have to take the test in English. Those requirements are that you're either 55 years old and you've been a permanent resident for 15 years, or you're 50 years old or higher and you've been a permanent resident for 20 years. So you just keep in mind the number is 70. So you add the two together, as long as it equals 70, then yes, the person is exempt from English. So in your case, it looks like your mom has been here for only 6 years. If she's been here for 6 years as a permanent resident, it doesn't sound like she has enough time to be exempt. Even though she's 69, she hasn't reached that time to be exempt from English yet. So that's coming up, but it's going to take a few more years. Based on what I'm seeing here, it's probably going to take her another 8 or 9 years before she qualified for that exemption. But that's a good question. We don't get the question about English and English relating to the citizenship exam very much. So it's an interesting question. Again, it says, can't they deny your entry with advanced parole? Typically, no. If there's something in there where there is a problem, an issue, such as some type of past order of removal that was triggered and the person's reentering. So there could be something there, but typically no. We have not experienced any problems with somebody re-entering or entering the United States with advanced parole through DACA. But again, as Attorney Raquel said, it's great to talk it over with an immigration attorney. So if you have questions, give us a call and we'll set up a consultation and go through that with you. Do I think DACA will give citizenship? At this point, no. Now, in Congress, there is a bill that is trying to work its way through that would do that. But I don't want to give anybody false hope, because that bill has been trying to go through for years and years and years, and it hasn't gone through yet. So at this point, DACA is a protection, but is not leading to a green card and does not lead to citizenship yet. We hope that it will. Both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, are saying they want that. So right now it's just politics. It's keeping it from going through because they both say they want it. But right now it is not leading to any type of citizenship.
I have a question here regarding as well. And Alondra wondering, because she did her fingerprints before, she's wondering if she's going to have to redo them if and when they open up the initial filing for DACA.
And the answer is, I can't say definitively yes or no, but I'm going to say probably not, because something since COVID has started is that USCIS has actually been taking fingerprints that people have already done and refreshing them, meaning they're just running those same fingerprints again, because obviously your fingerprints don't change. So they can run those again, and that's what they've been doing. So if they already took your fingerprints, you probably will not have to do fingerprints again, but I cannot say 100% that they won't send another notice, but more than likely you're not going to have to go do fingerprints again. Yeah, and so got a question here from Cindy. Is the date of entry to the U.S. for DACA June 15th, 2007? Yes, that's remaining the same. So the dates remain the same, which was June 15th, 2007 for the entry and residing in the United States, and then physically present on June 15th, 2012 in the United States. So yes, those stay the same. I have a bunch of questions. So thank you guys for all the questions. And again, thank you for all the likes. We appreciate that. And so it lets us know that we are giving you the information that you want. So I have a question here about U visas. What year are they on for U visas? So what we're seeing with our clients, they're approving U visas that were filed back in 2016. So that seems to be where they are on working on them. Now you can also get deferred action through the U visa, which is very similar to DACA. And we're seeing those from 2017. So they're giving deferred action. They're supposed to be doing it much quicker than that, but that is happening. So those are the years that are coming up right now. 2016, we're seeing for actual decisions on the U visa, and 2017 for deferred action for the U visa. We'll be having another time where we're answering as many immigration questions as we can. So next Tuesday at noon, join us and we'll be glad to answer all your questions there. So Attorney Raquel, thank you so much for being here with us today and providing the information.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. And I hope you guys have a great
day. We'll see you next week.